Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Stock Market with your twice weekly Apple analysis. This analysis is done on Thursday the 9th of May. I'm recording this video 10:35 late in the evening New York time on Thursday New York time. My last analysis expected some more upwards movement for Apple. We got mostly sideways and slightly lower movement. I expect we've seen a fourth wave correction unfold in the last couple of days, and I've adjusted my wave count within this C wave. It now has a much better look on the daily chart. I have more confidence in how I've analysed this upwards movement, and I've taken a close look at Fibonacci ratios. There's some amazingly great ratios in there, so I think this is the correct count. I think we still have a final upwards push, extremely likely to take price above the end of minor wave A here to avoid a rear running flat for this expanded flat for intermediate wave 2. For Apple, I'm seeing this whole movement down an A wave at cycle degree subdividing into a 5-wave impulse, and we have had the ends of primary 1 and 2, and we're within a primary 3rd wave down. Within primary 3 we have intermediate 1 complete, a trend channel breach of intermediate wave 1, which is a nice 5-wave impulse, indicates it's over, and intermediate wave 2 is underway. We have a 3, 3, and we need a 5 up to complete for an expanded flat correction. The target remains the same at 518.48. Minor wave C will reach 2.618, the length of minor wave A. But a more reliable way to get a better target is the ratios between 1, 3 and 5 at minute degree within minor wave C. I may be able to refine and make this target more accurate for you in next analysis early next week. Intermediate wave 2 may not move beyond the start of 1 above 594.59. The target for primary 3, still months away, remains the same at 272. It would reach 2.618, the length of primary wave 1. Let's have a look at the structure for minor wave C on the hourly chart, with the start of it down here. Is this point down here? So my previous analysis had pink or minute wave 1 and 2 down here, which had a slightly odd look. But it's pretty common to see that series of overlapping first and second waves, so I do usually tend to look for that first. But with this sizable sideways movement of the last 3 days, it's made me have a closer look, another look, and have a look at a different possibility for how to label this upwards movement. When I put minute 1 and 2 and 3 here, we start to see some much better Fibonacci ratios, so I have more confidence today that I've got this wave count right, and this sideways movement is just a small 4th wave correction, and we're going to see more highs for Apple. Minute wave 3 is 5.68 short of 2.618, the length of minute wave 1. That's a 7.8% variation, which is less than 10%. Anything less than 10% I consider acceptable. Ratios within minute wave 1. Minuet wave 3 has no Fibonacci ratio to minuet wave 1, but minuet wave 5 is 1.25 short of equality with minuet wave 1. Within minuet wave 3, subminuet wave 1 is just subminuet wave 3 is just 0.02 longer than 1.618, the length of subminuet wave 1, and subminuet wave 5 has no Fibonacci ratio to either 1 or 3. Within this little subminuet 3rd wave, microwave 3 is 0.59 short of 1.618, the length of microwave 1, and microwave 5 has no Fibonacci ratio to the other 2. Ratios within minute wave 3, minuet wave 3 is 3.56 longer than 1.618, the length of minuet wave 1. That's a 9.3% variation, so it's just acceptable. And minuet wave 5 has no Fibonacci ratio to either 3 or 1. Within minuet wave 3, subminuet wave 3 has no ratio to subminuet wave 1, and subminuet wave 5 is 0.41 short of 2.618, the length of subminuet wave 1. Within subminuet wave 3, microwave 3 has no Fibonacci ratio to microwave 1, and microwave 5 is 0.42 longer than 0.382, the length of microwave 3. Within minuet wave 4, subminuet wave C is 0.88 longer than 2.618 the length of subminuet wave A. Within minuet wave 5, subminuet wave 3 is 1.24 longer than 4.236 the length of subminuet wave 1. That is an unusual Fibonacci ratio, but it is mathematically correctly a Fibonacci ratio. And subminuet wave 5 is 0.19 short of equality with subminuet wave 1. Within subminuet wave 3, microwave 3 is just 0.13 longer than 1.618 the length of microwave 1, and microwave 5 is extended and at 0.51 longer than 1.618 the length of microwave 3. Within this extended fifth wave, submicrowave 3 is 0.42 short of 1.618 the length of the first wave, and submicrowave 5 is 0.36 longer than 0.618 the length of submicrowave 1. Within this fourth wave correction, it's unfolding as a regular expanded flat. Minuet wave B is a 97% correction of minuet wave A, so the minimum of 90% is met and passed. And the C wave is unfolding as an ending expanding diagonal. When I have a look at it on the 5-minute chart, this final downwards wave so far has a 5-wave structure, and it needs a little bit more to complete a zigzag. So just wave A within the zigzag of the ending diagonal is probably complete. It's fairly likely for the C wave to reach to about the end of the A wave, because this is a regular flat, that's where you'd expect it to end, and it's pretty likely to reach ever so slightly below that to avoid a truncation. This trend channel on the hourly chart is a best fit, and you'll have to redraw it if, as I expect, price moves slightly lower to end the fourth wave correction. Draw the first trend line from the low of minute 2 to wherever the low of minute 4 ends up. Place a parallel copy up on the high of minuet wave 3 within minute wave 3 to contain all the upwards movement. Expect following upwards movement for the fifth wave to be fairly likely to end midway in the channel, or, if it gets up there, to find resistance at the upper edge. At next analysis, we should have had the end of the fourth wave correction, and then I'll use ratios between 1, 3 and 5 at minute degree to calculate a target upwards for the fifth wave. The fourth wave can't move into first wave price territory. This wave count is invalidated with movement below 415.26 at minute degree. So I'm still expecting upwards movement, and I expect that it's extremely likely for price to move above 469.95 so that big second wave correction avoids a truncation and avoids being a rare running flat. The probability of movement above that price point is still very high. The structure within the C wave is still incomplete. It needs a bit more up to go. That's all for me today with your Apple analysis, and I hope that everybody is looking forward to a fabulous weekend.